This is Yeshua Said My Name. Today we're going to be doing a study on the name of Babylon. What exactly does Babylon mean? Well, there are two different descriptions of the meaning of Babylon that I found in Wikipedia. One of the descriptions of the name of Babylon actually is no longer widely accepted by most scholars today. If you look it up, the name Bab and Il, as far as old scholars used to believe, the word Bab stood for God and Il meant gate. So when the Tower of Babel was being built, many scholars of ancient times believed that that meant that the tower was a gate to God or a gate of the gods. Now, we know that the Lord came down and he saw them building the tower and decided to come down and say, let's put an end to this because he is the way. Jesus said, no one comes unto God the Father except through me. So Babylon is man's way of trying to reach God through their own system. So we're going to be tying in the two different definitions of Babylon with modern day Babylon, which I believe is none other than Vatican City State, according to Revelation 17. Archibald Sayce, who was doing some writings in the 1870s, it says here, considered Babil to be the translation of the earlier Sumerian text, meaning gate of God, or the gate or God's gate. Today, though, however, it is more widely seen in scriptures as confusion, or being translated into Babil, meaning babbling or confusion, or a mixture of meaningless words, or to babble. I believe that both ancient records describing Babylon have significance to modern day Babylon. And let me explain. Let me see here. Let me get his name for you again. In what does it say here? 1870s, Archibald Sayce. Okay, and you can look this up in wikipedia.com. 1870s considered Bab and Il to mean, from the ancient Sumerian, gate of God. Now, let's move forward to modern day Mystery Babylon, which is Vatican City State in Revelation 17. Does not the Vatican claim to be the only way to God? She claims to be the mother of all churches. In the Catechism, and especially in Vatican II, she states that apart from union with her, the church, there is no salvation. Apart from submitting to the pontificate in Rome, there is no salvation. Now, this is clearly documented in Catholic sources. This isn't just coming from Protestant sources. She believes herself to be the gate to salvation. So I find it interesting that even though this original translation of Babylon is no longer held by scholars as being the main definition of modern day Mystery Babylon, I think it's interesting to go back to the history of the ancient understandings of what Bab and Il meant, gate of God. And of course, today, more scholars are leaning more in the direction of Babylon, meaning a babbling, a confusion. So let's go forward again to Mystery Babylon. The Vatican is incorporating every pagan religion and every Protestant denomination under its umbrella, confusing people. It is taking in every so-called God, every doctrine from these pagan societies, and mixing it in with the Vatican, trying to bring in every pagan religion and denomination under the Vatican umbrella, which to many is confusing, isn't it? The word Babel, and some scholars, how they translate it, means confusion, or a mixing of things that are confusing. So I believe both definitions for Babylon are significant in looking at modern day Mystery Babylon today. The Vatican views itself as the gate or doorway to God, the only means to salvation through herself and the reigning Pope of Rome, who I believe to be the man of sin. And also Babel, meaning confusion. She has adopted the religions of the world, and this is spoken of in Revelation chapter 17, which states of her, Vatican City State, that she has committed fornication with the kings of the earth, meaning all these pagan nations, and has adopted and welcomed their ways of worship under her own umbrella. So I believe both the definitions, both the ancient definition that Archibald Sayce from the 1870s said that many scholars believe that Bab, meaning God, and Il, meaning gate, gate of God, is significant for today's modern Mystery Babylon, as well as the meaning of confusion. She has committed fornication with the kings of the earth and brought confusion to what the true gospel really is. Never will you hear the Vatican preaching on repentance, turning from sin, that Christ is the only way. No, she usurps Christ's authority on earth by claiming to be Christ on earth, or at least the Pope does, the vicar of Christ, meaning God on earth, and also states that apart from her, the Roman Catholic Church, there is no salvation. So this is confusing the gospel that Christ preached, that he is the only way, truth, and life, and that no one comes to the Father except through him. So the Vatican does indeed claim to be the gate or doorway to God, the original meaning bad, ill, and also Babel, meaning confusion. She causes confusion and truly brings what? Confusion and misunderstanding about the true nature of the gospel, which is Christ and him crucified, and him being the only way, the truth, and the life. So hopefully, I found this definition of Babylon very interesting and thought that I would bring both definitions to your attention that I found online in Wikipedia. I became interested in the true meaning and found both of these definitions and thought they were both significant to present day Mystery Babylon, which is none other, according to Revelation 17, Vatican City State. God bless. Thanks for listening.